All right. So when I was a youngster, my dad's trademark move was throwing cell phones out the window and like buying tech shit and throwing it out and like having it laying around and not using it and like telling me to throw it out. Like, throw out, that's a $400 printer. He wouldn't say that. I would just look it up. That printer, I've never used it. I need you to throw that out. Like, that would be the thing. And I never understood this until recently. And the distinction here, this has to do with division of labor, okay? And you could even think about this in terms of like a couple, like a man and a woman, like why would the man of the house, why would the male figure in a household be washing dishes if he's the breadwinner, right? Like your time is, there's certain people have more, their time is more valuable spent certain ways. Like you wouldn't hire like you wouldn't hire some Indian like coder guy, like you wouldn't hire him period, but you wouldn't hire him especially to like lay down pavers in your driveway, right? Like there are just things you wouldn't do. You wouldn't hire a line cook to do the logo for your business. And the point, I mean, this sounds inane, but the point of this is your time, everybody's time, but yours specifically is very valuable in one area, and it's really not at all valuable in probably a lot of other areas, okay? Like if I was I was gonna say car mechanic, but I actually could be a good car mechanic. If I was hired to like I don't know, install home theater equipment, like my time, what's my time worth right now? It's worth a lot. If my time as a home theater equipment installer would be worth what, like $30 an hour, like optimistically, maybe like 22. So when you're thinking about this is something that always bothered me, like when certain people, like I'm a man baby, I'm a notorious flagrant man baby. Like I don't do my own laundry. I don't do that shit, okay? I'm not going to do it. I don't do it. And all throughout my life, I've heard people, probably a lot of women saying like, yeah. But I've always viewed my time as, this is why I'm like this. It's not because I'm lazy. It's not because I'm like, have some infantile Freudian fucking age play problem. It's because I've always viewed my time as more valuable than like a professional laundry folder, okay? And the periods where I've been like, I've legit been in my car and like been eating poorly, which has not been recently, but very long time ago. Even then, I knew that my time was more valuable. The time that I would spend working on MDE and related projects, even though it wasn't making a paycheck at that point, it would be more valuable to me than doing my own laundry. Okay, and I'm probably at the extreme end of this, and I don't recommend you come join me here. But my point is, I recently understood why my dad had his signature move of throwing out pretty much unused electronics, which is that he viewed his time doing what he did as more valuable than like an IT support person. And when you're doing not only investing, but when you're doing like, this would be a good thing for anyone. This is something that you would pick up if you're doing investing, but it's good for anyone to know this shit is fallacies. Gambler's fallacy, sunk cost fallacy. I mean, just look up list of fallacies and go through and read them, And anytime, print it out, and anytime you come across one that you recognize as having done in your life, put a star next to it, okay? And just train yourself to pick up on that, because those are all human thought paradigms that are not going to be the best logical way for you to make money. So for example, sunk cost fallacy would be what my pops did not suffer from, which was, I spent $450 on this Sony Ericsson cellular phone. I'd better learn to use it. Like, no, if you spend the $450 on it in the hopes that it will be a valuable part of your life, okay? Hopefully you did some of your research and you know what phone is going to be going to most enhance your life. But as soon as it does not enhance your life, as soon as it's something that is like sucking up your time and is not promising a payback, it is now like a brick of time wasting shit, and you just should throw it out. And that's the same thing with really anything. Once something is like a net negative, or something that is distracting or stresses you out or whatever, you should like honestly and logically evaluate it with those fallacies in mind, so that you don't have some sort of emotional, like, you're not looking at it through an emotional lens that's going to prevent you from making the best decision. But oh yeah, so that was a bit of a sidetrack. So what I was talking about was, I guess, specialization, which is your time is very valuable in one aspect. And when you're young, you don't know what that is because you haven't really developed it yet, but you're on the way to developing it, which means that your time is valuable anyway, even though you haven't gotten there yet. It's like the prep work before the actual thing. It's still a tragic waste if you don't do it, if you lose that time on something else. So specialization. Don't be afraid to look at something that you are retarded at and be comfortable with being like, yeah, I'm not going to do this because I'm not retarded, because I'm retarded at this thing, and also I could be making my time is worth $200 an hour doing this other thing. So why the fuck would I do something? Why the fuck would I waste time making myself a meal that's going to take me an hour and a half to do, including the cleanup, when I could just go buy one for like $20? And that's time that I could use to make $300. Like, why? And your time is more valuable than you think. The value of your time is up to you. I mean, it's up to what you're willing to do, because you're, strictly speaking, your time is probably worth nothing. Like, I wouldn't pay you to do anything, but this all has to do with your future outcomes. If you can land yourself some sort of spot, or you can come up with a niche for yourself, or figure out some way to make money, your time at that point will be worth X amount, okay? And the lead up to that is, like, say you've got to do 8,000 hours of work before you can figure out something that is going to yield profit. You're still going to have to do 8,000 hours worth of work either way. Like, that 8,000 hours is not going anywhere. So by like vacillating between two things, you're just wasting time, which is money. So don't do that. That's it. Yeah.
My name is Max. I have two brothers.
Don Jolly, the thing that bothers him about Rick and Morty is not so much the humor and the fucking Neil deGrasse Tyson tier, put some science on it, we'll solve it with science. I haven't watched the show, but I know what Don's beef with it is, and it's that the ultimate message is, hey, Morty, nothing matters, don't, you see, you reproduce, you live and you die, nothing matters, Morty. Like, it's a very nihilistic show, I guess. I haven't watched it, but that seems to fall in line with the trend as far as humor goes. Humor and all everything that you read in New York Times or the New Yorker or whatever. It's ultimately got this message that nothing matters, and I feel like it couldn't be further from the truth. But anyway, so what I want to talk about now that I got my 20-minute introduction out of the way, so this is one of this might be the most important broad topic that I have to share with you. Broad as opposed to pointed and practical. I think the most pointed and practical advice that I can give is don't be an artist or a musician or a writer, and don't go to college without making damn sure that you're one of the few people that needs to go to college. That's the most important practical pointed advice that I have to give. Most important broad advice that I have to give is wash your neck brace. When you get a neck brace, you have to wash it. I'm not talking about humor. I'm not talking about making jokes that make fun of Heather Heyer, okay? I'm not talking about all that stuff. I'm talking about actual negativity. Which might be more like being black-pilled, but even black-pilled people care about what's going on and they're paying attention to what's going on. What I'm talking about is like a primal, unthinking, base-level negativity. Watching cartoons, eating yummy cereal, and being a petty person, wishing that bad things would happen to people in your personal life. I'm talking about real, genuine negativity as an end and not as a means. And then positivity, and this is not, everything's great, oh my gosh, everything's great, you guys. Positivity, real positivity, which is when you are tested, when you have nothing, when you're in a fucking ditch, can you still muster the fortitude to fucking do something? Okay, I'm talking about actual positivity, not surface level positivity, which may be helpful, but it's not what I'm talking about, not related to this, okay? So actual, like, elemental force of nature, negativity and positivity, actual yin and yang are real. Ooh. They're fucking real. And you can use them to either ruin your life or get something done. That's the gist of it. That's basically where I'm going with this one. Negativity, positivity are real. And depending on what your mix is, okay, what your air-fuel ratio is, negativity versus positivity, you will either end up tortured by demons that you cannot see and cannot understand, or you will end up living some sort of spiritually, mentally, financially, possibly fulfilling life. And the outcomes in between the bad one and the good one are more or less determined, oh God, by what your personal blend of negativity / positivity is. If what you do, and this is not like, I'm not saying it's like karma or something where the negative things are going to be like points that add up, and you get punished once a week based on how many naughty points you have. But what I'm saying is, you can train your brain to run on battery acid very easily. You can think negative things, and it's kind of like being a rageaholic. Look up what a rageaholic is if you don't know that you can actually become a rageaholic. But you can just as easily become a poisonaholic. You can wallow in mental poison and think the worst shit all day and hate yourself and hate the people around you and hate the people who might care about you if you weren't such a piece of shit. And you can make that a self-reinforcing mental loop that may one day become impossible to get out of. And it's probably pretty easy for some people to do that. It's definitely the path of least resistance. And it's helped along the way by self-pity, by entitlement, by thinking that the world owes you something, by thinking that you're better than other people, by having high expectations, and by being the type of person who has a tantrum when those expectations are not met. Those are all things that will help you in your journey to hell, which you can very easily reach. And it may take a long time before you're a permanent resident of hell, but it'll eventually happen, and when it does, it'll feel like it happened in the blink of an eye. And I can't imagine what would be worse. Thinking about that time that you took getting to hell and thinking about what you could have done with it and thinking about how quickly it passed by. 10 years, wow. That was 10 years ago? I'm in hell. I don't know if that's worse, or if knowing that for the next 20 or 30 or 40 years, your only option is enjoying hell. Alright, so I mentioned that negativity is the path of least resistance. Now, if you have a good life, which I don't begrudge you that. I'm not saying I wouldn't say that rich people are well, that's not true. There is something about never having to be in the trenches or out in the wilderness and experiencing how cold life is, that will eventually lead to a person not being morally complete. Something like that. You can tell when someone has never had to face any adversity, and they're usually not cool people. Some of them are cool, okay? but I grew up in a rich town, and there were a lot of people from my high school who they had it on fucking easy street. Their dads had like Wall Street jobs and stuff, and
Well, it's been some time since I had the con. But not to worry, number one. You're in good hands. Starbase 74. Warp 2. Engage.
We're losing antimatter containment. Core breach is imminent.
Captain, where are you going?
You have the bridge, number one.
You're leaving the ship?
Captain's personal log supplemental. I have just witnessed the total destruction of the USS Enterprise with the loss of all hands.
That's too bad.
Have you ever had sex? No? Well, there's no reason to be ashamed, because there's no such thing as sex, as it is impossible. You see, girls don't actually have vaginas. They just pretend they do so they can promise us something of great pleasure when they can't even and won't even use it. Oh, but what about porn where people have sex, you say? Well, it's just carefully edited CGI, as such activities are impossible with the human body. And your friends? They're just lying to look cool. Oh, but where do babies come from, you ask? Space. No, hear me out. When an asteroid crashed into the Earth millions of years ago, ending the dinosaur age, we, as illegal aliens, landed on the Earth. The viruses that we brought killed off all of our predators and enabled us to live the perfect life. And when we proved we were living a stable life in the form of a family, we were sent a baby from our homeworld as a gift. I know it's very hard to take in, but how else would you explain us not being able to have sex for this long? If it really did exist, we should be able to have it by now.
Attention, Freeman, get your ass back here.
Oh, it's you. Weren't you supposed to be in the test chamber half an hour ago?
Fuck you!
Ah, you are completely wrong. Did you submit your status report to the administrator today?
Don't tick me off.
All right. Shouldn't we try to capture a specimen? This analysis is going to run perfectly today, don't you think?
Bring it on!
Ah, yes. Get out of this new HEV suit.
You aren't scared, are you?
There's something you should see. Who is the administrator of this test chamber? Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Hold still. This won't hurt a bit. Let's try this.
You're gonna wish you hadn't done that.
Whoa!
Got one!
Get back! I can't hold on much longer.
Come on! Ooh, you don't still think this is a drill, do you?
Care package inbound.
と待ち合わせしてて。
そんな釣れないこと言わないで。
It's a dick, alright? It's a dick.
Ну красава! Ну елки-палки! Я просто был в шоке. А Дзюба как головой забил.
One through the tree.
Что? Банана! Банана!
Hi, I'm Peter Parker.
Hey, Peter Parker. You got something for me?
Why not the parabola?
I didn't do it!
Oh, I needed that. I needed that too.
Russia is a democratic federation.
Oh, you think the house is a mess, huh? I'll show you a fucking mess, bitch.
I seem to be wounded, but...
Can I have a buffalo chicken roller, please, sir?
Yeah, especially.
2 buffalo chicken rollers, one for Asian Andy and one for me.
After school, there's a lot of kids from my high school who ended up getting like consulting jobs and marketing jobs, and like just easy. They slid into an easy nepotism slot, and they don't look like they're doing too good. And I hope they are, and some of them are, and I'm happy to see that for sure. But it's tough to be a good, well-rounded, cool person if you have not really taken some shitty knocks in your life. So anyway, path of least resistance. Being a hateful, poisonous turd is easy. All you have to do is just wake up. Okay, your body does that naturally. You put on some YouTube videos, you put on the TV, and you just spend the day sort of ruminating on how you have nothing and how other people have it better than you and they deserve it less and you deserve the most, etc. Like, it's not hard to do that. Being being out there with nothing, and in a lot of cases less than nothing, with debt, with problems, with high body fat, with these things that would, in an RPG game, would be equivalent to like a curse, okay? You're cursed right now. You've got that purple gloom over your head. Fuck! This is a curse right now. RPG curse, okay? And it's like in Earthbound when you get the mushroom on your head and pressing right makes you go down, okay? And you don't know how the fuck to walk anymore. When you have that, the equivalent of that in real life, and you don't have a game plan, you don't have a 5-year plan, you don't have any talent, you don't have any assets, you have nothing, it is very, very fucking difficult and almost insane to imagine something better or to tell people that you're going to try to get something better. You will sound like a fucking insane person if you ever tell somebody that you have actual ambition when you're in this state, okay? Anyway, back to my point here. We've got visitors. So you have nothing. You probably have less than nothing. You probably have 100,000 in debt. That's less than nothing. That means you're below zero. You're not even a zero. You're not even an empty Sun Chips bag on the curb right now. You're an empty Sun Chips bag full of shit and Hep C needles. That's what your status is in life right now, okay? You are, if you're playing an RPG, you're not the main character. You're the slime, the level 2 slime that the main character kills in one hit. That's your state of being. And I'm not saying that to rip on you. I'm saying, hypothetically, that might be where you are. I was there, okay? That's why I'm not saying it with malice. I'm not saying it to deride you, okay? And to be a level 2 slime and be like, yeah, one day I'm gonna beat the boss is fucking insane. That is insane. And to start working towards beating the boss as a level 2 slime is like, it's fucking difficult, man. It is so difficult. And when I was in my one of the toughest places, which was when I was selling cars. Selling cars, probably had like 5,000 subscribers or something. The videos were making negative money. You know, I was selling my mom's jewelry to buy camera equipment and shit. And working this job selling cars, which was tough because, you know, in the winter, you don't sell cars in the winter. Nobody comes in. You go there, you go to the dealership for 12 hours. Not a single fucking person walks into the dealership. It's cold as fuck, and it was like 2009, I think, so nobody had money. Nobody was buying cars. This was right before the cash for cars stimulus, because nobody was buying cars. I think not George Bush, I think it was Obama, made it so that any car you brought in, even if it was totally worthless, was like, you automatically got like $4,000 trade-in value for that. Or something, I forgot how it worked exactly, but that was like the lowest point of car sales. Winter, you could go a week without seeing a single fucking customer at a big Toyota dealership. 1 week, 3 people come in, none of them buy. And so what you do is you go there, and because you want to be the first salesman, you're standing outside all day, okay? You don't get to stand outside all day in a Gore-Tex, in a nice like Swedish person snowsuit. You stand outside all day in like dress slacks when it's fucking freezing. And you're standing, your knees start to hurt, your feet hurt, you're wearing like thin leather shoes. And the most protection you get is like a dealership fleece. You get a nice fleece. and people come in and they don't want to buy. They're having a bad day. It's snowy. There's just slush everywhere. They track slush into the dealership, and you know, they get in the car for the test drive, and they got snow. They get snow in the car. And what you do all day instead of selling cars is you move cars around the lot so that plow trucks can plow anytime there's snow, and you clear all the snow off the cars. You do this every day that it snows. And it was just, it wasn't that the work was so bad. It was also that I was making negative money, because when you don't sell cars at a dealership, it's all commission based, but they have to like nominally pay you some form of minimum wage. So it's called the draw. So they pay you like $800 a week or something, but that money has to be paid back from your commission. So it's just like you go sell a car for nothing. It was just the worst. And it wasn't that the job was so bad. There's tons of shitty jobs. That's really the only like shitty job that I've had. It wasn't so bad. What was really bad about it was just the soul death of not moving myself forward, the spiritual cobwebs that were forming when each day I wanted to do a video thing or work on building the brand or whatever, and just knowing that I when would I ever be able to get back to this? When would I have the time or the money to stop selling cars for 10-12 hours a day and moving cars and cleaning the snow off of them, because that's what the job was. So that was rough. And I think there was some salesman or some motivational speaker or something, and it wasn't like someone made some brilliant point or something. It was just that I heard the word heat, and I heard the word heat, and I thought about heat. And that's when I started to do this visualization thing that really helped. And it was thinking about, like, closing your eyes and picturing, like, you know, freezing ice crystals, picturing the world in a symbolic fantasy world way of what it really is, which is this frozen wasteland where everybody else is so caught up in trying not to freeze to death that there's no fucking way that they could help you in any form or even acknowledge your existence. So it's just ice crystals. It's just this pale blue freezing wasteland, and imagining in your hands a tiny almost imperceptibly, just barely glowing, the tiniest little ember, the tiniest ball of fire that you have to stoke, you have to protect it, and you have to somehow build it into something. Ah, gosh. And that is a very useful metaphor, visual metaphor for what you really have to do to be truly positive. I'm not talking about surface level positivity, because I had shitloads of that, because I was a car salesman. Oh, you want to try the new Toyota Yaris? Get ready for a treat. Get ready for a surprise, man. You're going to love the kick of this 1.6 liter engine. True negativity. I'm not talking about making fun of the girl, the Dodge Charger heart attack girl. That's not at all the type of shit that I'm saying here. I'm talking about actual negativity. I'm talking about actually being consumed by hate and jealousy and taking the easy way out. There's that, and then there's the hard way, which is actually being a level 2 slime and building anything, becoming anything, whether it's lifting weights, learning how to weld, figuring out some small business idea that works, whatever the fuck it is that you think you can do. It's really, really tough to do that as a level 2 slime. And heat and momentum are the two things that you have to cultivate them. Like, imagine the final scene from Fifth Element when Chris Tucker does not have any fire and they find one match. They have to have the fire element. All they have is one match. Nobody breathes, and they manage to save the galaxy with the one match. That's even if you're starting off as a level 10 slime, or even if you're starting off as the main character in your RPG and you have a short sword and the game's easier than it is for other people, that attitude is still helpful. That attitude of like obsessively protecting and being vigilant and like busting your ass to build your medium-sized fire or whatever it is into something that is magnificent and fulfilling and brings light and goodness to yourself, to the people in your tribal circle, or to strangers online, whatever. Those are like the two options in my mind, and there's a mix, there's a gradient in between. And that's that.
The Great Death is a man-made virus. Everyone up to the president is at UNATCO's mercy as long as UNATCO controls the supply of ambrosia. You believe that? We have proof. We need to get the ambrosia to Hong Kong. Heard of Tracer Tong? He can help us synthesize it ourselves. Blackmail of the US government could not possibly escape the notice of the United Nations. Don't be so quick to trust the UN. Are you kidding? The UN's about the only chance we've got these days. If the US spirals into another civil war, a pretext, nothing more. The whole project of world government, going back to the League of Nations, has been funded and manipulated mainly by wealthy bankers. Is that so? Remember that the UN itself was built on land donated by John D. Rockefeller. The wealthy have always been the ones to profit from one world government. The UN was founded not to end war, but to gradually dissolve national governments and replace them with a globalist meritocracy. Average people never benefit from government and business on a scale they can't even understand. A few bureaucrats in New York can't make good decisions for New Jersey, let alone Paris, or a village in China. That kind of centralization can only lead to precisely the debacle that the UN has become. Somehow the notion of unalienable liberty got lost. It's really become a question of what liberties will the state assign to individuals? Or rather, what liberties will we have the strength to cling to? It's only a matter of time before someone clever and ambitious figures out that the tools of dictatorship have been ready-made by well-meaning governments all over the world. UNATCO, for instance, a global response to a common problem. Looks good on paper, but a global military force is hard to keep accountable. You've got to have God clearance to know the nanites can be programmed for exponential growth. UNATCO takes payoffs. Silhouette, the other terrorist groups, they're our allies. I'm prepared to believe you. I killed Agent Navarra, and I'll join you against UNATCO.
Yo, he off something, yo, Lil Uzi. Oh.
Oh, not again. Come on, Steve. What did I say about mining in my backyard? Look at this giant hole you made, man. Have some respect, at least. Ow!
I need a suit.
Suit? Get it?
Hey, can you read this?
Wait, what the fuck?
Let me drive the bus.
Interior crocodile alligator. I drive a Chevrolet movie.
Bruh, bruh, bruh.
Go good.
Oh. I can do it quick. Okay? I'm just saying.
Alright, where's the... Shit.
Fuck that shit. I don't remember none of this shit.
To the rules and I hit the ground running. Didn't make sense.
Ratatouille. Oh, what did we make it today?
Shut up! You don't have free speech, you understand? You listen to me! I rule this country now, I'm liberal! Screw him! Ban his free speech right now! Ban it!
You boys ready? I'm ready, dude. Let's do this shit! Let's go! Yeah!
Bridge, go.
I know what'll get you out from under the bed. I know you want to lick 'em.
Life hack to get all your drinks in the fridge. Just open that side up. Then this side. Once both sides are open.
Ask me if I'm a truck.
Are you a truck?
So guys, Soggy here. Okay, I've got a quick biscuit dunking tutorial for you guys. There's the standard dunk, it's just that. But then you can get weird, you can do this. Boom, going backwards. This one's called the NBA Slam.
Was that damage, my guy? Oh!
Idiot!
What you doing? Goddamn bitch!
Alright, so I've got my trusty stopwatch, and here they come down the hill. It looks like Ruben is in the lead, and here comes Al, and this... Oh, jeez! Bad idea.